So, where were you on 9/11? Welcome to another lens of how to increase the engagement with your audience, for your audience, together in collaboration with your audience. So, where were you on 9/11? You probably remember. Do you remember where you were a week before? Maybe not. The reason why you probably remember where you were in 9/11, or let's do one more experiment actually. Do you remember where you were when you were 10 years old and where you went to go on holiday? Maybe you did, just as me, because you went to the same place over and over again. But maybe just as the wide variety of my audience when I asked that question doesn't. But can you remember a beautiful memory when you were a kid? Like a magical moment? You probably could, right? For me, it was going fishing with my grandpa, who had a boat, a blow-up boat with like all different people, and we would go for mackerels, and I see those fishes, I smell them. I remember there was like this rainbow on their skin. It was magical, and I totally remember it. The whole full experience. This is the beauty of anchoring emotion and a vision that people see, feel, hear, and know, and recognize and experience while you are speaking. So what we are going to talk about now is the difference between being broad and overarching and generalizing to specific and showing people pictures that they can store into their mind's eye. So let's just say that the now and the new, that the journey you want to bring people on is that you grew up in a poor family financially, didn't have a lot of money, and then build your way up, and at some point had 6 figures on your own bank account. This is a story of actually someone who worked in the Speaking Academy. It was absolutely freaking amazing. She went through it and she's now inspiring others to do the same. And her secret sauce is taking care of your body, because she saw a lot of people become wealthy, didn't feel fulfilled, and she created a lifestyle where she didn't only just had the money, but also a fulfilling life with a healthy lifestyle. So she wanted to anchor in that she grew up in a poor family financially. And that's what she said in the beginning. She said, I grew up in a poor family, we didn't have a lot of money, and that's why blah, 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 blah. And she continued with the story. Now we went through the lens that we are about to go through. Specificity. Because when you can give specific examples, then the emotional engagement, the recognition, the release of hormones that help you remember, that help you feel, that help you store the information gets released. So we thought about how can you express a poor financial situation in actual experiences that you went through. And then she created a list. Like, for example, she always wore secondhand clothing. When they went to the store, they could never pick candies because they didn't have the money for it. When they went to the supermarket, they didn't come with 3 different types of, I don't know what she said, jam, but she just had to pick the one, right? And she came up with different pictures, different scenarios, different picture statement of small stories, scenes of her life that said, I grew up in a poor family. She didn't have to say that literally. Now, what are the advantages besides everything I've already mentioned? An extra dimension is when you open up the imagination of other people because they're connecting with a story, they're connecting with an emotion, they're connecting with a picture, you give them the freedom to really dive into their own memories, and they will get different breakthroughs than you might have created when you were very literal. So when you say we grew up in a poor family, everybody hears you grew up in a poor family. When you say I felt insecure in school because I was always wearing secondhand clothing. Or even if you want to go more specific, when I went to school in my veil white shirt because it wasn't new, it was bought secondhand with my mom, then people can go through what are the moments that I felt insecure. Or maybe they connect with white veil and they're like, yeah, I also had a kid in my school. Or they go through their own story library in their mind. They go through their own life experience and they connect on their level. Does it make sense? So you're not pointing the finger and this is how you should connect. You're opening the lens of this is what it is, and I want you to bring you along. So I'm giving you different ways to connect to this certain emotion, which is I'm dissatisfied. So another example, of another storyline is loneliness. Imagine you felt really lonely and then you want to talk about super fulfilling, very connected to yourself, to other people, to a higher something. How can you, for example, come up with a way where you can express the feeling of loneliness without saying, we're talking about the feeling of loneliness? What about a picture? What about a scene that everybody can relate to? The reason why I'm so passionate about helping people from loneliness to fully connected is because one day on a Friday evening, and I'm making this up in the moment, okay? Bear with me. On a Friday evening, I was walking on the streets in the Netherlands. Now, there's one thing that you probably don't know about the Netherlands, if you're not from here, is that we don't have curtains in our living rooms. It's pretty damn wild, but when you're walking on the street, you can just walk inside of someone's living room. And when I was walking on a Friday evening, I looked to the right and I saw a man, probably 70 years old or something, and like a little beard, gray hair, walking a little like this. And he was walking to his table. And when I saw that, I just felt, this is not how we as humans should live. Because what he had in his hands was a microwave meal. No one on earth should eat a microwave meal alone on a Friday evening. That's why I'm so passionate, helping blah blah blah, helping getting blah blah blah, getting to the solution. Do you see that this scene creates so much more emotion than just saying loneliness? Another one, love. I didn't feel so much love and now I have a thriving relationship. Oh my God, sometimes we just throw these generalizations in the air and you think that they stick, but they actually fly away because they don't create an emotional connection. So how can you create an emotional connection? How can you come up with picture statements of little stories that make it easier for people to see, feel, hear, and experience what you're saying, so they feel it, so it's stored in their memory for a longer time, and they actually want to say yes to their next level, to your next level, because they feel understood, seen, know it's for them, know they love you, all those beautiful things we've already talked about. So in this case, what about, I always have to laugh about this one when I see it, is instead of saying now they're in love, to say, they're holding hands on a bicycle. Again, I'm from the Netherlands, we bike everywhere. Holding hands on a bicycle. There's not a crazier picture for me that describes love on a very disgustingly cute level, right? So the situation for you is like this. Listen to yourself talking, record yourself, and then observe through this lens. Am I generalizing and being broad all the time? Or are there certain moments where I can use specific examples that people can see and experience? So I give them the freedom of their own imagination and actually allow them to feel something while I say something. Because that's in the end the emotional roller coaster. We want people to feel something so it sticks for them. I'm not saying make this one big comedy show and use every single moment to create a specificity. But again, this compounds. when you add a little bit more specificity and then a little bit other engagement style, a little other engagement style, a little bit other engagement style. At some point, you just see people saying yes to you, people saying yes to your offer, people writing down everything you said. And when you say, who else feels this? They're like, me! Because you've done all the little pieces that add to this one big epic ride of transformation. So let's get after it. Be a little bit more specific. Enjoy.